Okay.
Hey Jay, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, man. I'm super excited to get into this one. Why don't you tell
hmm
everybody what you do, who you
Yeah.
are?
Yeah. So my name's Jay Stevens. I run a roofing marketing agency. So we do meta ads. We have like a call center on the back end. We qualify every lead that comes in, schedule it right onto our client's calendar. So they pretty much just have to show up to the job and close the deal. So that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah. So Jay works with, what is it, 20, no, more than 20 now
Oh
clients,
yeah,
right?
it's like probably upwards of 30 right now.
30. Yeah.
Um, Now I know my numbers because I got ClickUp in here, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I can kind of go in the client success tracker you built me. We got 18 plus 11, whatever that is. I'm trash at math, but
29.
29. There we go.
Right on. So,
Yep.
yeah, I guess that kind of leads us into how did you hear about us and what were you struggling
hmm
with and why you reached out, right?
Yeah. So, the way I found out about you is I was in we're in a coaching program together, and I actually saw. I don't remember why I was exactly searching, but I was looking around in the community and I saw you did like a mastermind where you taught in front of a bunch of guys about, project management, stuff like that. I watched the whole video. I liked what I saw. It definitely was something that I needed at the time. I actually didn't know how much I needed it and what all went into what you provide and what you help with. But yeah, I basically booked a call because I felt like I was kind of just wearing all the hats. I was honestly just getting sick and tired of it. And I remember you told me this, on the calls, I sounded depressed and
Yeah.
just like I was just so done with life. And like, yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I was doing everything exhausted and kind of burnt out, to be frank, with not really much hope. I had been in the same spot for a long time, probably around like 15, 20K a month for a while, and I just really didn't see myself getting out of that.
hmm
So that's mainly why I reached out.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good overview. And Jay was a solopreneur. I think he had one setter he was working with
Yeah.
that would call his clients, but really there wasn't really much management happening. I asked Jay, I was like, "How do you track the day to day work?" And you said, "I just have it all in my head." Sometimes you use the
Yeah.
calendar if you remembered, but it was really just like you said, wearing all the hats, not being able to grow the business any farther, and capped out. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing was like you started this business, you enjoyed it in the beginning, you're making good money, but then it
Mhm.
was like, how do I grow this? And I think even in that first call, you said like I dreaded when I signed a new client. You're like,
Oh
I
yeah.
should be excited and happy, but you were actually sad because you're like, I have to do all this work now, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Everything was pretty much manual. I remember when I got a new client, I remember telling you this, I had to do like mental gymnastics, like, okay, just got a new client. What the heck do I do again? Oh yeah, I have to start the A2P. What do I do now? Create their Go High Level sub account. Okay, what's after that? It was just very time consuming, everything manual, just yeah, not
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I think last week you and I were talking on our regular call, and you said I mentioned the word system when you first started, and you're like, I don't even know what that is. I don't have any systems.
Yeah.
It
Right.
was kind of like everything was in your head, right? So
Yeah. System wasn't a word in my vocabulary, that's for
yeah.
sure. Yep.
So yeah, I guess we started. This was about 6 months ago or so. You came to me, and really there was no SOPs, there was no structure. You wanted to hire somebody, you had the profit margin to do so, but you're like, I don't even know what I give this person, how would I manage them? So
Mhm.
we started from the very top. It was just like, hey, let's map out all the processes, get a really good understanding of what your business is doing today, and then figure out a plan from there on like what you actually need, which
Mhm.
led to ClickUp in that case. So what have you seen
Yeah.
since implementing ClickUp, as well as some of the automations that we've implemented so far?
Everything is in one place, which is nice. Um, I didn't even really see why it was necessary, to be honest. Even when we were implementing it, I was like, man, this is just like a lot. Like, how am I even going to get used to using this? I couldn't even see myself using it until I just bared with it. I kept, using it, kept trying to give it a chance until I really realized, wow, okay, I see why this makes sense now. Because the main thing is like I had all these tasks, but they're just in my head. Nothing was documented. Nothing was actually, okay, this is due Tuesday. This is the status. It's in progress. It's set to do whatever. There was none of that, and so that's the potential that I've seen, and now I'm using it for every single task, and I'm logging everything, and we have basically, yeah, a good idea of what needs to be done, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember distinctly one of the first conversations we had. You mentioned how a client was interested in video ads, and you're like, "Oh yeah, totally. Like, I will get you a script, and we will record it and
Mhm.
see what happens." And then you'd get those clients reaching back out to you like a week later and being like, "Hey Jay, like, where is this?" Right?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that happened all the time.
yeah, so to be able to have those due dates to be able to see what's going on, and then the other piece was he had 15 to 20 clients all by himself. Could you imagine, like, every client asks for something, nothing's
Mhm.
written down, and at that point you should have hired, right? But you're like, how do I
Oh,
even
yeah.
hire? So I guess, how did it go from now we have this system in place and now you felt confident? Because I think you recording those SOPs and kind of the guidance I gave you on how to actually structure it, I think really unlocked something for you. Or now, last week, we had our call and you're like smiling ear to ear compared to when the first
Yeah.
call was like, man, I don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Yep. Um, SOPs are a breeze now. I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. I have clarity. Obviously things aren't perfect, but we're definitely making progress. And I feel optimistic again. Like I see so much potential. And yeah, I just feel like we're headed in the right direction. Whereas 6 months ago or whenever we met, it was like around September, I just felt kind of hopeless. Like, I just can't possibly grow. But now it's different. Now my day to day has changed a lot. I've got, one, two, four, five team members. And so, yeah. And it's just crazy because hiring, I was starting to realize how important it was before we met. But now I'm really seeing how important it is because I've done it and definitely need to do more of it. But it's just changed the game because now I can actually sell. Now I have time to be pretty much on demo calls all the time, selling, doing what actually drives revenue to the business instead of being stuck in client campaigns all day long or, you know, sitting on like demos that no show because I don't have someone calling my leads as soon as they come in and qualifying them, or being on stuck on calls with leads that are completely unqualified. That was another thing I was doing a lot of. And so when I was able to hire setters who would call my leads instantly, qualify them, schedule them right under my calendar so that they show up to the call, they already know me, they already trust me somewhat. And it's just an easier sale. And I can just sit on, five of those. I know I'm going to sell like two or three. It's great. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think none of that would have been possible had we not gone
no.
through that first phase of mapping out the business, understanding here's where Jay's involved, here's where we could maybe automate this, here's where we could bring people in like setters to pre-qualify people so
Yeah.
that Jay's only getting on the phone because your time at that time was more valuable now, like then, than it is now. Like, you have a little bit more free time,
Hmm.
but back then, like, you didn't have time to waste, right? So it was
Yeah.
like you still had to do the fulfillment, right? So it was even worse
Yeah.
back then. So yeah, I think it just goes to show, like, when someone looks at what I do, they're like, how does this drive revenue? How does this? But you have to just look at it a few layers deeper
Yeah.
and see that, like, every client I've worked with so far, revenue has gone up significantly, and it's because we first set that foundation, and then they're
Yeah.
able to use all that free time that we've given them back to go do what you're doing today, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think at the end of the day, if your business is built on a two pillar, crappy, shaky wooden foundation, it's going to break. You know, you're going to get up to 50K, 100K, but can you sustain that? Probably not. And if you are sustaining, you probably hate your life.
Yeah.
But what it's important to do is maybe, take that time, maybe what feels like a step back, but actually build that concrete foundation, solid foundation, like with you, for example, getting ClickUp in place, getting all these
Mhm.
systems in place, build that solid foundation so you can build that skyscraper. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to call you out here, Jay, but when I first asked you, what's your revenue? You're like, I don't even know, because like you weren't actually
Yeah.
tracking any of that stuff, right?
No.
So
No.
like to not even know the basic numbers of your business makes it really hard to know where you should
Yeah.
invest your energy, right? So
Yeah.
I think we built all those systems, tracking revenue, knowing your metrics. And now like everything's so data driven in your business, like you're able to see how much a lead costs and which
Mm.
ads are performing. And there's just so many things that wouldn't have been possible had we not done that initial upfront work.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Things are definitely moving in the right direction. And yeah, data at the end of the day as well, when we were first getting started, I mean, part of me didn't even want to know my revenue because it's just like I I was just at the same spot, maybe kind of actually declining, right? And it
Yeah.
was just kind of like it felt like I was that meme where it's like the guy is trying to push that giant boulder up a hill. That's like how
Yeah.
my life felt.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So I
Yep.
guess if someone was in your shoes, maybe they're stagnating, maybe they're at that 50K mark, but they don't have good processes, systems, automations in
Mhm.
place, what would you recommend them?
I'd recommend them to don't get too caught up in the Stripe screenshot. Don't don't push for that 100K, 70K, 75 or whatever if it's not right. You know, if you feel like something's off, you feel like you just don't have the systems in place. It's just so much smarter to build that system first, get that going before you get to there because it's going to be such a headache if you just try to brute force your way. You know, you need to have the system, things are going to break. And if you're in a case like me, where you weren't even big, you were like 10K a month, 20K a month, around somewhere in that range, there's no way you're going to get to 30, 40, 50 and beyond if you don't have these systems in place. So wherever you are, really, you need to have them. And so just kind of, it's a pill you need to swallow and just realize that, hey, I need to get things in order before we scale, not, the other way around. So,
100%, 100%. Yeah, it's very easy to say, "Hey, I need to spend all my time just going to
mhm,
do sales and marketing and driving revenue," not realizing that if you do it too much too fast, you're going to risk
yeah,
churn and a lot of stress that you could have been prevented if you try to do it a little bit more sustainably after you put
yeah,
some of the systems and right people in place. So
hmm
um,
yeah.
what do you find, like, from like a stress level 1 to 10 when you first started with me versus now with the new setup, like
Oh,
actually
yeah.
operating the business on a day to day?
Yeah. At the beginning, I remember it was very stressful. Like there was a time in my life where I was like literally I would wake up and I would start this sounds so stupid now, but I was like dry heaving. Like I did not want to start the day.
Yeah.
Like my business was like not doing it well. Just and yeah, it wasn't fun time just wearing all the hats. I didn't even have my call agent at the time. It got a little bit better, but it was still not great. I was at 20K, really had no way to scale beyond that before we met, and then now it's a lot better. Like, I'm still stressed, of course, because things are growing so fast, but I would take that stress any day
Yeah.
over stress of like, oh my gosh, I just cannot break through this. Every day is a war. I'm having to put out fires left and right. Like I'm the only person.
Yeah.
Now I actually have some sense of direction, and the stress I have now is like just how can I grow this thing as soon as possible and hire these people I need. Like I have
Yeah.
the system, I just need to fill the roles. So
Yeah. And how far have you grown revenue now from when we started?
yeah, so I mean, I would say it was around like 20K when I first started, and now we did 35,500 last month, and
Hmm.
now we're probably gonna get to like 50K this month, or
There you
maybe
go.
get very close.
Yeah.
So yeah, I track my data on Sundays, so we'll definitely see where we are this Sunday,
Yeah.
and then kind of see what we might be looking at finishing out the remainder of February. But yeah, I mean we're
Yeah.
moving. It's very exciting.
Yeah. And what do you see like the next level, like 75, 100K months? Like, do you see the roadmap there now? As opposed to like when we first started, you probably didn't see how you were going to get to 50
Yeah,
from 20.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of have an idea of what I need to do now. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like clarity. It's very nice having clarity. When you're in a spot like I was where you just didn't really see any light at the end of the tunnel and things were just like constantly like, oh man, I don't even want to wake up in the morning. Like it's like not like anything like that, like
Yeah. Yeah. No,
suicidal
I
or
understand.
anything, but because that sounded kind of weird, but you know what I mean. Like just do not want to start the day, like have no drive to even, it's just monotonous. But now it's great. Like I'm optimistic is what I'm trying to say.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And I'm excited kind of next level. Every day you and
Yeah.
I we meet, twice a week and we look
Mhm.
at the opportunities in your business and there's always something, right? As you grow, there's always these little bottlenecks that come up. But
Oh
we
yeah.
know how to fix it all now because we have a foundation and the data layer is super cool where it's like we can actually just look at the data and be like, okay, this is the actual problem. This is taking too long. Or,
Yeah.
this is costing too much. And like before it was
Mhm.
like we didn't even know what anything cost or how long anything took, right? So I think
Yeah.
I think that's massive. So,
Mhm.
I guess what would you say to someone considering working with Probotify?
I would say definitely do it. Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't know what stage you are in your business. You watching this, maybe on YouTube or something like that. But I remember watching Amir's videos on YouTube, and for me, I knew I needed this because I just knew that nothing was going to change if I kept going the way I was going. At the end of the day, you have to think about, if I don't do something, what is going to change? Do I just keep kicking the can down the road, or do I actually swallow my pride and do I actually get in touch with someone who is an expert in a specific field? Because there are two people, they pay with time or they pay with money. You should always be the person that pays with money. I almost said time. Do not be the guy that pays with time, because
Yeah.
money is infinite. Money, you can get more of it, but time, we do not have time. Business owners do not have time, and so I would just 100% invest and win your time back and then grow, rather than 8 months, a year, 2 years down the road and you're still in the same spot and just kind of not really having a good time like I was. So
Awesome. I appreciate that, Jay, and well said. I think there's a lot of business owners that decide not to invest in systems, continue going down that path of trying to grow without it, and then a year down the road, 6 months down the road, then they call me, right? So I've seen that in the past as well. So I'm glad you are not that story. So Jay, before we worked together, you had mentioned that you had tried to build automations with a guy from Fiverr, I think it was. What would
mhm.
you say was the biggest difference between working with someone like myself and someone from Fiverr who just did automations?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you get your hands dirty. You take like and I liked this part. I actually liked this. You took a lot of time to deeply understand my business. Um, Kind of like a doctor. They don't just throw pills at you. They don't just throw a solution at you. They really dig deep and try and understand what it is you're going through, what it is you actually need, right? And kind of getting your hands dirty and building and solving problems at the end of the day. The Fiverr guys, I mean, they're great. I mean, for one-off stuff, I'm sure they're great, but for what I was needing, especially, it just yeah, they built something, didn't really even know how to use it. Personally, I didn't know how to use it, and yeah, I never actually even ended up using what they built. So they yeah, they're dealing with a million people all the time. They got orders coming in all the time. I'm sure they don't even have the time to really give you the one-on-one attention, that you
Mhm.
deserve at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just kind of how I felt about it. So definitely better getting involved with someone like you that gets their hands dirty and really, is a partner at the end of the day, not just like a vendor, if
Right.
that
No,
kind of makes sense.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think that is a big distinction that people just see everybody and their dog as AI automation experts, right? Right now,
Yeah.
like that's the very common thing is like, oh, everybody's an AI engineer or AI automation specialist. But the range and quality that you get is
Hmm.
completely different. And I come from, IT strategy background. So starting
Yeah.
with the actual problem in hand as opposed to just, hey, let's just throw some automations at you and like buy all this stuff like it's
Yeah.
like a shopping cart or a grocery store. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not the same at all. It's more about
Hmm.
understanding what the actual problems are, the bottlenecks in the business, and then giving you that. And of course, that's why you were able to see results. And whereas, you spent the money before for those automations, but it didn't necessarily solve the problems that you had. Right. So
Hmm.
thank you so much, Jay, for the kind words. Really appreciate it.
Hmm.
I guess one last thing, is there anything else you wanted to share with the audience, someone who's considering this, about, you know, going from unsystematized to systematized
Hmm.
and the results that you got? Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say if you're kind of on the fence, definitely just do what I did. Just watch the testimonials. Basically, just kind of think, do you want to keep going down the road of not really having systems? I mean, I sure don't. It's pretty, it's not fun at all. Or maybe if you have systems, but they're just unorganized. I don't know what the scenarios are. There's probably a lot of them that you hear about, Amir, but I think at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's always worth it to invest in someone who can get you past that constraint quicker, rather than kind of just suffering and going through time, just, whatever the issue in the business is. So I would definitely invest in it again. It took me from being stuck to now thriving. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time and taking the time out of your day to do this interview.
Hmm.
Me and Jay still work together, so I'm excited to see kind of where the
Yep.
next level of growth comes from with Stevens Digital. I think it's been super cool to see you go from a guy who's just stressed out to a guy who's just smiling, being excited to help roofers grow, right? Ultimately. So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, man. And yeah, looking forward
Hmm.
to seeing the next level of growth.
For
Thanks for your
sure.
time.
Yeah, no problem.